All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Shin Molieri, and I am one of your benefits specialists here at Douglas County School District. This video is your 2026-2027 open enrollment tutorial to show you how to make changes here in Workday. So we're going to start in Workday, obviously, and then you can get to your open enrollment task a few different ways. So you can click on your little inbox up here next to your face, and it should be in there. Or hopefully it should be right here on your front page under awaiting your action. So we will click in here, and then we're going to click Let's Get Started. Okay. So right here on your home page, there are a few updates that we've made, and so I'll just go over those really quickly. We do have a new voluntary legal plan for the 26-27 plan year. This is exciting. You basically can take advantage of a wide range of legal services if you enroll in this. Basically, this would include things like estate planning, family and personal legal matters, financial matters, all sorts of things that might be included with this. So make sure you check out our benefits guide if you want to see what kinds of things are involved in this. Also want to draw your attention to the fact that we are getting a new FSA and HSA administrator. So currently we have HSA Bank. We will be transitioning over to a company called WEX. So if you enroll in an HSA or an FSA, you will get new debit cards because this is a new company, obviously. HSA participants, obviously your money rolls over year to year, so you have options as far as what you do with your funds. If you have funds in HSA Bank right now, you can keep them there, or you can transfer them over to WEX at no cost to you. Keep in mind that if you continue having an HSA that you are making contributions into through payroll, they will be going into WEX as that is now our administrator. So if you keep your money in HSA Bank, that's fine, but now you'll have two accounts. So just something to keep in mind there. We will have more information on how to do this, transferring your funds if you would like, on our website. Okay, and then we have just a couple of changes here to both UHC and Kaiser. Deductibles and out-of-pocket maximums have gone up on both high deductible plans. And then for United Healthcare, our PPO has gone up a little bit, as has the HMO on Kaiser. And just a reminder that the benefit elections you're making during this time will be effective as of July 1st, 2026. So our current plan year ends June 30th of 2026. Okay, so let's get started. Hopefully, you remember from last year or when you did your new hire all of these boxes. So we're going to go into the first one just to manage it. Though let me say really quickly, just as a reminder, our open enrollment is what we call a passive open enrollment. So that means everything with the exception of FSAs, if you enroll in that, I'll get more into that in a bit. Everything rolls over year to year. So if you already have elections made, they will roll over into this new plan year. You don't have to make changes, again, except for an FSA. But for argument's sake, let's say I would like to make a change to my medical plan this year. So I currently have the Colorado Doctors Plan. I am going to change my family to, let's say, the high deductible plan with Kaiser. Okay. So right now it's showing waived. We're just going to hit select. That automatically makes my former plan go into waive. I'm going to hit confirm and continue. Okay. And then on this page, this is where we add our coverage levels. So before I had employee plus spouse plus children, we are going to do that again. Now, during open enrollment, you can add new dependents if you previously had not had those dependents. So I am going to add a new dependent. Let's say I adopted a kiddo recently, so I will say Louis Duck has entered my family now. We'll say child. Great. And I believe that's all it wants. Wonderful. Okay, so it automatically selected Louis here. Now, if you are adding new dependents, there's a few things you'll have to do. One, you'll have to add a social security number. Let's just, okay. Great. Okay, so now see, I've got 4 dependents because I just added my new dependent. Now keep in mind, you can add new dependents during open enrollment, as I said. However, we will need documentation. So in that example, I said I think I adopted. I will need to have my official adoption decree, add it to this at the end. If you got married recently and you want to now add your spouse, you will need a marriage certificate. So just keep that in mind that we will need dependent documentation for any new dependents. Okay, dental, I'm going to keep it the same. So I didn't even need to click in here, honestly, but just so we could see it. Oh, actually, it's good that I did. I'm going to add my new dependent, Louis, here. Spouse, I don't cover. So we'll just save that. Okay. Vision, we're going to say Louis, the new kiddo, has just terrific vision. So I need no changes here. Okay. Accident insurance, if you don't know what that is, this is a great plan. It allows you to submit a claim for any specific covered accidents and injuries. So let's say my kiddo plays soccer, broke their ankle. I could submit a claim for accident insurance and it will pay me a lump sum depending on the injury. And then you can use that money for whatever you want, whether it's doctor's visits, whether it's just paying yourself back for time missed at work or, having to buy food out, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. You don't have to use it on anything specifically to medical. The good thing about this plan also is that you get a wellness benefit is included with this accident insurance coverage. Basically, if you complete a covered health screening, so your annual exam, your vision exam, your dental exam, whatever it may be, and you submit a claim, Voya will pay you $100 up to 4 family members for each of those screenings. So basically, you could get $400 out of this, which means this benefit basically pays for itself if you remember to do that wellness claim. So if you get this coverage, make sure you submit that wellness claim. Hospital indemnity, this plan has 2 levels. So it has a low level and a high level. Basically, the difference here, other than cost obviously, is that the low level will pay you $1,000 if you get admitted into the hospital, and then $100 a day beyond that for however many days you're in the hospital. Whereas the high one will pay you $2,000 if you are admitted into the hospital, and then $200 every day that you are in there. So, this plan is a great plan if you know that you're going to have a hospital stay in the next year. So, obviously, we don't always know those things in advance, but if you know you've got a major surgery or perhaps you're having a baby in the next year, this is an amazing plan for that because you'll get some money just for being admitted. So, something to think about. Right now, I just have children on there. Alrighty, and then our last optional coverage here. Oh, it's down a little bit. My apologies, but they often kind of go hand in hand to me. So here we go. We have critical illness insurance as an option as well. So, critical illness insurance, again, this is another voluntary plan, so not required at all, and it doesn't take the place of your regular medical coverage, but this will pay you a lump sum payment if you are diagnosed with a covered illness or condition that happens at some point during the plan year. So basically, it's similar to accident insurance in that it will pay you a certain amount depending on the covered illness. For more information on all of these, including what is covered under all these plans, we do have information, one at the links in Workday, or you can always go to our website as well. So I currently have it for myself and my children. So at the $10,000 level, there's a $5,000 and a $10,000 level for dependents. And then for you, the employee, you have more options. You've got 5, 10, 20, or 30. So I just do 30. Okay. All right, now we'll come back up here to look at some of our other voluntary benefits. So we do offer identity theft protection from Norton LifeLock. This is also another great plan that we love. I mean, as you all know, I'm sure you get plenty of texts like I do that are spam. It's just scary out there. And so this offers protection, credit monitoring, identity restoration if something were to happen and you became a victim of identity theft. There also is options here for um, parental controls if you have kids with cell phones, laptops, all that good stuff. This is another way to kind of make sure that they're safe online. The great thing about this plan too is that you can technically cover not just your children or your spouse. You could cover your parent on this plan if you have an elderly parent you're a little bit worried about, what could happen to them online or identity theft. This could be a great plan for you. You don't have to add them here as a dependent. You could just do that later in their on their website at Norton once you get set up into your account. Okay. I'm going to come back to these. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit, but I just like to cover kind of our optional benefits. So this is that legal one that I was talking about. This is new. Like I said, it's got all sorts of things here that I can help you out with. So actually, you don't choose here because it doesn't matter. Your whole family is enrolled in this plan, regardless of you don't have to add them as dependents. So, okay. Okay, now I'll hop back up here. So, earlier, as you'll remember, I said if you had an FSA in the past, you must re enroll. Okay, it's not going to roll over. So please make sure that you do that if that is something that you would like to have. Even if you had it last year, it's not going to show up. So I did have it last year, and as you can see, it's not here. This year, I changed my plan up here, as you can see, to a high deductible. So we're actually going to enroll in an HSA. HSAs are great. If you have a high deductible health plan, then DCSD will make monthly contributions to your HSA. $100 if you're full-time, $50 if you're part-time. You do have to elect this, however. If you don't enroll in the HSA, you won't get these funds from the district. So make sure you do that, even if you don't want to put any of your own money in. These limits are set by the IRS. So for individual, $4,400. For family, it's $8,750. You can do catch up of an additional $1,000 if you are age 55 and up, which I am not, so I will leave that there as waive. We'll confirm and continue. Let's say I don't want to do anything into it. I will still get that district $100, which is great. Just to play around with it, since I have family coverage, I could do a full $8,750 if I would like. Oh, I'm sorry. The district is kicking in $1,200, so that is included in that maximum. So that was a good error to make. So technically, we can only do $7,550 because the rest of that district. So then that will show you here per paycheck. I would be doing $686. Now you can also just select per paycheck if you wanted. Like if you know what, I just want to put $50 a pay period. There you go. It'll calculate it out for you what the annual would be. So we're going to save that. FSA functions in a somewhat similar way to an HSA in that you can use it for medical, dental, and vision costs. However, this one does not roll over year to year, so it's a use it or lose it. So if you enroll in this, make sure that you use all the funds in it before the end of the plan year. An FSA limited, you can use this for dental and vision specifically. You can have both an HSA and a limited FSA. So that's the benefit there if you wanted to do that. Okay, and then dependent care. This is for if you have kids in daycare or if you have an elderly family member or a disabled family member that you're taking care of and you're paying for some sort of day care coverage for them. This could be used for that. Like the others, you have to enroll in it every year, and it does not roll over. You have to use this. If you're anything like me, it's not hard to spend this whole amount because daycare is very expensive. So I'm going to do the whole amount. They just raised it for the first time this year in quite a while. And by they, I mean the IRS. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay. And then here we've got a couple of other things. So we've got this voluntary group term life. That is just if you would like some additional life insurance, you can do that. You can elect coverage starting at $10,000 to a maximum of $500,000 in $10,000 increments. So Basically, that means 10 to 500,000. It's up to you. However, you will be required to submit a statement of health, so an evidence of insurability, or I will call it an EOI, in order to be approved for it if you are doing any amount above $300,000. And that is if you are a new employee, okay? If you are trying to elect, like, what do I have here? So right now I have $160,000. Let's say I wanted to go up to whoop, exactly 300,000. Because I'm not a new employee, I will have to do an EOI because I'm going up more than $10,000. So before I had 160, let's say this year I was like, I'll just go up to 170. That's fine. I don't have to do an EOI at that point because it's only a $10,000 increment. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. I'll save it there. All right. And on both that one, and then I'll go over here onto the district paid one, you must add a beneficiary. You must elect beneficiary. So if you haven't done that before, it will make you do it before you can submit it. So I just went in here into my district paid life. Again, this is district paid, so you don't have to worry about this. I already had a beneficiary in here, Donald Duck, my loving husband. But let's say I wanted to add another beneficiary, one of my kids. Down here, I have a secondary, which is optional, but it's basically if for some reason my primary ones were, if they weren't able to take that coverage, then it would go to my mom down here, Dolly Duck. Okay, I believe I have them listed, so I'll do existing. I do. Here we go, Dewey. You are the lucky one. I will give you 50%. These percentages have to add up to 100. So if you're ever stuck and you can't figure out what the heck's going on, make sure your percentages are right. Make sure you have a beneficiary. Again, you don't have to add more than one, and you don't have to add a secondary. That's totally up to you. But you do have to add at least one beneficiary. Okay, you have the option for spouse life and dependent child life. There is no EOI required for children life insurance. Now, spouse, there is EOI required if they are electing higher than $50,000 if you're newly eligible. So, if this is your first time, your spouse will be able to elect up to $50,000 without submitting an EOI. If they do anything above 50,000 up to that maximum of 250,000, then they will have to submit an EOI. Now, I currently have this waived, and the reason for that is that my spouse works for Douglas County School District as well. So, I am not allowed to cover my spouse with life insurance, and they are not allowed to cover me either. The reason for that is that we are already covered by this life insurance plan through FOIA as part of the group. So, we can't double cover. If you do, either we will eventually catch it and we'll just cancel it for you, or, if something were to happen, then the claim would be denied. So it's just not even worth trying to enroll in that. All right, we're getting close to the end here. Short term disability, long term disability, district paid life, as I said, all of these are covered by the district, and so you're automatically enrolled in them. There's nothing you need to do for short term and long term here. There's nothing you can change, nothing necessary here. Okay, so then going down to the retirement plans, I won't go too much into what each one is, but just generally speaking, we as Douglas County School District employees have to contribute 11% of every paycheck to para. Now that happens automatically. So that amount is state legislature set, it's not up to us. And so it happens automatically from every paycheck. You don't have to enroll in it, anything like that. It will happen no matter what. You can't raise that amount, you can't lower that amount. It's 11% across the board. The district also does 21.4% into that pension for you. So that's basically what we pay into instead of Social Security. This means that all of these retirement plans that you see here in your open enrollment are optional. You don't have to do them. That 11% is going to happen no matter what. Same with the 21.4% from the district. That's happening no matter what. So, no need to elect these unless you would like to. So, as you can see, you have Roth options for all of these. We have a 403B, a 457, and those two are through MetLife. And then we also have a 401k through Para/Empower. Again, this is different than Para, though. Your 11%. Don't want to confuse it. I have enrolled in a little bit going into this Para 401k, as you can see. So we'll go in here. If you wanted to do that, you can do as low as 1 or as much as 85%. Okay, but it can't be any more than 85%. The limits are also listed in there for how much you can put into it every year. If you go up to that limit, payroll will stop from going over. So you don't necessarily have to calculate that out. Obviously, it's good to keep an eye on it every month, but it will stop it. Okay, and then last but not least, we do have our EAP here. This is included, same as the other things up above that I was mentioning, like short-term, long-term. There's nothing you need to do here. The district covers it, but make sure you check it out if you ever need any sort of support, not just therapy, but if you need some life coaching, some help with deciding, what direction you might go next in your career. SupportLink has options for all of these types of things. It's really a great program. And so if you go to our website, you can learn more about SupportLink. They do also have therapy, though, which is great. They have up to 8 sessions per presenting issue. So check it out. Just some general overview things here. Up here at the top of your page, you'll see this projected total cost per paycheck. So that's keeping track of how much would be taken from your paycheck every month. The only other thing that we often get questions on is if you should be choosing pre-tax or post-tax for things like medical. So as you can see, you've got an option here, post-tax or pre-tax. Generally speaking, most of the time people do pre-tax. Benefits are generally pre-tax deductions. This basically means it could reduce your tax liability at tax time. So it deducts the premiums before your taxes are paid. Now, post tax, you might want to consider doing that if you are within 3 years of retirement. So, if you know that you're going to be retiring in the next 3 to 5 years, you might consider switching to post tax because it won't reduce your reportable salary. That's important because as para employees, to calculate our monthly benefit when we retire, they use something called the highest average salary over our career, and they use the highest 3 years of pay. So if you're paying a bunch into medical, like I could be, then it might be worth it for you to do post tax if you're wanting that reportable salary amount to go up. Just keep in mind it might mean that you could owe more at tax time, not necessarily, but if you have any questions, please reach out to your tax advisor. Okay, we did it. So you are now done. You feel good about your elections. You're going to hit review and sign. You can always save for later and come back if you didn't want to finish it all in one sitting. That's an option. So then we're just going to take a quick look here. Like I said, it's got that projected total up here, but then you can look at the benefits you selected, see all your dependents, make sure everything is correct. It'll show your beneficiaries here. All right. And then it'll show you what you waived. And it'll show you what the cost breakdown is here. So this is the one that will probably matter most to you in this moment, but it also shows you what the company is going to be contributing into there. But this is the one, obviously, that will show what you will be doing, with the exception of any retirement amounts. Obviously, that could vary depending on your paycheck. Okay. For attachments, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you will need to provide dependent documentation if you haven't done it before. So if you have not covered dependents before on your plan, or you have a new dependent or something, you would need to put that documentation here. So birth certificate, marriage certificate, if you're adding a new spouse or a new child that you hadn't covered before, adoption decree, things like that. If you're adding anyone new, basically, you just would need to make sure you attach dependent documentation. And this is where you would do that, or we will reach out to you and say, hey, we need this from you. So, all right. Make sure you click this I accept box. You don't have to enter a comment here. And then you'll hit submit. Awesome. So now you're done. If you want to save this for your files, you'll click View 2026 Elections, and then you could always click Print if you would like, download it, and then you can save it for your files. But then you are good to go. Congratulations. If you have any questions, though, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are happy to help. Have a good rest of your school year.